This is the Farm Monitor. For over 50 years, your source for agribusiness news and features from around the Southeast and across the country, focusing on one of the nation's top industries, agriculture. The Farm Monitor is produced by one of the largest general farm organizations, the Georgia Farm Bureau. Now here are your hosts, Ray DeLesio and Kenny Bergamy.
All right, thrilled to be standing here once again, reunited with Mr. B after my 2-week absence for various assignments. And keeping with tradition, we aim to bring you the best of what the show has to offer.
Yes, we do. And this week, we have a little bit of everything. Coming up, pushing for critical funds after Georgia's farmers were left reeling from a late season cold blast. Now one U.S. Senator is stepping forward to champion their cause. In Morgan County, one family's passion for farm-to-table beef is reaping rewards. Discover how their journey of love and determination led to a thriving business, connecting with customers and providing a premium product.
Plus, from battling depression to becoming an aspiring horticulture therapist. No doubt, this young lady's story will inspire you to find hope, embrace resilience, and discover the beauty that blooms even in the darkest of times. These stories and so much more right now on the Farm Monitor.
Well, by now you've probably heard about the tough time Georgia peach growers are enduring. A late freeze in March caused them to suffer huge losses to their crop. It's a real challenge that Senator John Ossoff understands. As Damon Jones reports, Ossoff is now working around the clock to secure more government funding to support the industry and ensure its long-term strength.
Consumers will be seeing a lot less of Georgia's signature fruit on shelves as more than 90% of this year's peach crop was lost after growers endured a late freeze just as their trees were starting to bloom, which leaves them in a tough spot heading into the future.
We've had several poor crops, and this year is the worst crop in 30 years, and we're just pretty devastated about trying to get through this. We're needing to plant more acres and carry our trees till next year, and so hopefully we can get some disaster relief funding to supplement our other income.
It's a call for help Georgia Senator John Ossoff is hoping to answer promptly in order to keep the state's #1 industry running strong.
The federal government and the U.S. Department of Agriculture have a role to play in ensuring that farmers and growers in Georgia and across the country who face this kind of risk and put their livelihoods and their resources on the line every year with uncertainty about tough weather and other things that can impact their crop. The federal government has a role to play in providing smart, targeted disaster assistance.
It's an issue Ossoff says he will push hard for once back in the nation's capital, despite some of the pushback it is likely to receive.
But what I want to do is, as we move through the appropriations process in Congress, see if we can appropriate targeted, smart disaster relief funds for Georgia's peach growers. And of course, as polarized and divided as the political environment is these days, it's tough to get things done, but my job is to represent all Georgians, including Georgia agriculture, so I'm going to work to try to get this done.
That assistance is vital for the peach industry and its future, as crop insurance isn't near enough to cover this type of devastation.
It's tough. We'll have to borrow lots more money to make it till next year, and it's a whole 12 months till we get income again, and you got a whole year of expenses.
That's an emergency situation where the existing programs may not be sufficient and targeted relief may be necessary. So while the existing crop insurance programs can be helpful, sometimes you need supplemental help. When you have a situation that's as dire as this one, and it's in our state's interest and the nation's interest to ensure that farmers stay on their feet.
And in turn keep the state on its feet, as this disaster has far-reaching implications on the entire economy here in Georgia.
Well, we've got processors that cannot do the processing, consumers looking for Georgia peaches. We're losing our customers, they're going to other fruits and vegetables, and we're doing a lot of mail order now, and we've got regular customers that can't receive their peaches, and it's just a cascade of issues and problems that we're facing this year. So not to mention trying to keep our trees healthy and going until next year.
Reporting from Peach County, I'm Damon Jones for the Farm Monitor.
Well, these days, people are becoming increasingly mindful of where their food comes from. That's why businesses like Faithway Cattle are changing the way they operate. Our John Holcomb traveled to Boswick, Georgia, and shows us how Faithway sells beef directly to consumers from their own farm.
Here in Morgan County is truly a labor of love for Stan and Vanessa Neighbors, owners of Faithway Cattle, a family-run cattle operation that specializes in farm-to-table beef. It was a journey they started a few years back after wanting to make a change with their operation, which, according to the neighbors, turned out to be a great decision for their farm.
We started with just beef cows, did that for up until 17, and started then raising beef for consumers. The reason for that was there was just not enough money left over in the calf cow operation to be able to sustain the farm and make it worthy to keep. So we started that in 17 and has really been good for us. My wife helped me a lot with that. She's the one that does the marketing and it has grown every year. It really has taken off. We know from the first year we harvested one to now we harvest 30 to 40 a year.
We've had great reception, the public wanting to know where their food's coming from. They're wanting to support local. They're wanting to have that relationship. And also there's a lot of people outside of just wanting to support local and their local farmer, knowing where their food's coming from is about the health benefits. And I will say it's one of the hardest things I've ever done because I didn't grow up in this. However, it's one of the most rewarding things that I am doing, and so I'm very grateful for that, and to provide a good product, a premium product that not only is wonderful in taste, but just the health benefits behind it.
As they stated, their business has grown year over year, which of course can be attributed to having a great product. But it also has to do with their marketing efforts, which allows them to show their customers who they are as producers and also gives them a chance to share recipes, management practices, and other content that helps build relationships with customers.
What's important to me about that is to be able to provide a premium product to the customer that can have a relationship with their farmer and know where their beef comes from and the quality of it that they can expect. The public has really brought it to light, that they need to know their farmer because of all the issues. I think they benefit from it. It's a good thing for them and for me too.
Everyone deserves to have good food. And if they choose to want to buy local and know their farmer behind it, I look at that as just an extra bonus too.
As for the future, the neighbors say that they have plans to take their operation to the next level, but aren't sure when those plans will take place. All they know is, just like in the past, they're relying on faith to get them there.
We definitely want to expand our herd, and we are entertaining some agritourism to happen here on the farm, and we both would like to have a retail store. Don't know all the details of how that's going to look. We both are firm believers and know that we all have a journey here, and when it's meant to be in the perfect time, it will happen.
Reporting in Boswick for the Farm Monitor, I'm John Holcomb.
All right, John, thanks so much. After the break, you're going to meet an incredible young lady whose life took a dramatic turn when she discovered the healing power of nature. From battling personal hardships to finding solace in gardening, Chelsea's journey when the Farm Monitor continues. Well, last week, we shared the heartwarming story of Trellis Horticultural Therapy Alliance and how they're making a difference in people's lives through their ability garden at Callan-Wold Fine Arts Center in Atlanta. While we were there, we had the pleasure of meeting Chelsea Korzenko, a young lady interning at Trellis. She is truly a perfect role model because, like the people she helps, Chelsea was once also searching for purpose in life and discovered it through horticultural therapy. The Chelsea Korzenko you see today is not the Chelsea Krasenko from 5 years ago. Back then, her world was dark and uncertain. She was grappling with a broken marriage, battling depression, and living with her parents as a single mother. The future seemed bleak, and Chelsea felt lost, not knowing what her next steps would be. But one ordinary day, when the weight of the world seemed unbearable, Chelsea pulled herself out of bed, made her way to the front yard, and sat down in front of this majestic tree. Little did she know that simple act would change her life.
I grabbed the ground, and I remember that feeling, finally, of feeling safe and held, grounded. And I looked around me, and for the first time, I started seeing that color again. I started seeing trees blowing in the wind. I felt present. Everything that was going on in my life, that internal war happening, was peace.
It was this profound experience that led Chelsea to discover the power of horticulture therapy. She realized that cultivating plants and connecting with nature could heal not only the land, but also the human spirit. So Chelsea embarked on a journey of healing and growth, immersing herself in the world of horticulture. She enrolled in courses, attended workshops, and learned the art of gardening as a therapeutic practice.
So we're all very stressed, but there is research out there where they have evidence-based research where when you connect and use your hands, the cortisol levels decrease. And to me, that is such a powerful thing. As you work with your hands and step out into a garden, you know firsthand. Honestly, it doesn't really need to take research to understand that.
Nowadays, Chelsea is an aspiring horticulture therapist, interning at the Trellisability Garden, where she is making a profound impact on the lives of others. With her gentle guidance and compassionate nature, she helps individuals find solace, purpose, and healing through the magic of plants.
Chelsea, some people get it and some people don't get it. You have to have this empathy. You have to be a caregiver. Some people are not caregivers.
Just push the soil.
Chelsea, in loving beauty and nature, and having that ability to, have empathy for people that have suffered some level of trauma or their lives have been upended, even grief.
I have learned how to personalize the gardening activities with the people, and that is the biggest thing, is the client care and learning about their stories and figuring about where they are and where they want to be, and having to find gardening activities to match that for them, and seeing what lights them up is really fun to experience and learn, and being open to them and figuring out how to bring, socialization is very key there. And so how to bring what I do over here in this farm to them in a social, specific goals. And learning that has been amazing for this profession. You can't learn that in class.
But Chelsea's journey didn't end there.
So this is our sensory bin here, and we bring clients here to smell and feel all the different textures, to see the different patterns.
Inspired by her newfound passion, she decided to start her own business, Daffodilly Farms, an oasis of serenity where people can find respite and discover the power of nature. The name was inspired by a life-changing trip to England, where Chelsea witnessed firsthand the breathtaking beauty of daffodils in bloom.
I was obsessed with William Wordsworth, the Daffodil Poem, and visited his property. And he wrote that poem after he lost his baby. He went up on top of the hill, and there's a spot, and I sat down and I saw it, and he looked across the beautiful green rolling hills of Lake Grasmere, and there was the daffodils blowing in the wind. And I got to see that. And I didn't fully appreciate it then until my life turned upside down and I felt that decapitating grief. And I realized, oh, he found hope through flowers. And so when I was creating this farm, I loved daffodils. I didn't really think that was the name, but then I was like, you know what? I'm silly. I'm fun. I found that part of me again. Daffodilly, that makes me laugh. That makes me smile. And that's how it was created.
Yes, Chelsea's business is flourishing, and so is her personal life. She found love once again and remarried, leaving behind the shadows of her darkest days. Today, she is happier than ever, radiating a joy and purpose that inspire everyone she meets. When asked if she could go back in time and speak to her troubled self, well, suffice it to say, the conversation would be one filled with emotion and, more importantly, encouragement.
Keep going. That's what got me through the darkest days then, and it gets me through now. Now I know my faith is ahead of me. I did not know that then. All I saw was fear. I thought fear belonged in the future. I have learned through this process that fear doesn't belong in the future. It's only here. It can't belong in the future. Faith is there, light and hope. And if you just keep going, I find that fear just comes behind you. It just walks behind you if you just keep pushing through it.
Sharp young lady, isn't she? Up next, the groundbreaking project where nature and industry coexist. See for yourself the transformation of degraded sites into thriving ecosystems when the Farm Monitor continues.
I think a lot of times there are old thoughts, perhaps, that people have of the role of women on the farm. We're not just the wife of a farmer or a part of a farm family. Although all those are true, we are also farmers.
More than 1/3 of America's farmers and ranchers today are women. They are working the land, sorting the cattle, buying the seeds, and leading dynamic change at the local, state, and national level.
Our Women's Leadership Committee is a group of very diverse women that come together with the common mission of advocating for agriculture. But it's a group of women with the same goal, supporting one another.
Women are leading the way, on and off the farm, from running a farm or ranch business to advocating on Capitol Hill. The American Farm Bureau Women's Leadership Program provides women with opportunities for growth and development to sharpen their skills and strengthen their ability to inspire change.
I didn't realize the mass volume of opportunities that would be afforded to me as a woman in Farm Bureau and leadership potential. So I've really enjoyed getting to grow into my leadership potential, but also helping other women grow into their leadership potential through our Women's Leadership Committee.
The Women's Communications Boot Camp is an intensive training opportunity for members interested in advancing their communication skills to share their farm stories.
My favorite part has just been the relationships that I built in so many different states to learn about different types of agriculture that I'm not used to in Indiana. So building those relationships and really just bolstering our communication skills and learning how to use our voice as women in agriculture, but also just Farm Bureau members in general.
The spirit of farm and ranch communities has long embodied working together and giving back. The Women's Leadership Committee gives back in a variety of ways, including by working with local Ronald McDonald House Charities chapters across the country.
My personal experience was about 28 years ago when I was pregnant with my husband and I's first child, and she had a medical problem. It means so much, and that's really probably the reason I'm with the committee and my why for being so involved with Farm Bureau and the women's leadership. Since 1997, they have been donating. Some of them will come in and cook meals or donate snacks, and they do so much.
I believe the Women's Leadership Committee will give you, as a member, the opportunity to grow into a network of women that support each other, that strengthen each other and give each other the opportunities to thrive and to share that voice of not only agriculture and their farm, but rural communities.
Through advocacy, training, and community engagement, the Farm Bureau Women's Leadership Program is making a difference in our organization, our profession, and our communities.
Well, in a proud moment for our Georgia Farm Bureau Federation ambassadors, the group welcomed the UGA Young Scholars to the home office recently. The students were inspired by the ambassadors' insights on the countless opportunities offered by Georgia Farm Bureau programs. Additionally, they discovered the importance of membership in supporting these programs and exchanged ideas on the future of agriculture and their crucial role in safeguarding it. Finally this week, despite their crucial role in nature and the economy, bee populations continue to decline in range and abundance. One major cause is due to habitat loss.
Yeah, and that is why scientists at the U.S. Forest Service created the Pollinator Habitat in Log Landings Project. It's a 3-year study focused on developing pollinator habitat on log landings. Those are places where loggers stack, sort, and load timber into trucks following timber harvests.
What we're doing on national forests is really to benefit a diverse range of flora and fauna, and this project is just one piece of that. So we're harvesting timber and we're getting a product out of that, but by doing that we're also creating habitat for birds and bees. Even though the log landings are sort of this degraded small piece, we're trying to do everything we can to sustain populations of wildlife. So the Pollinator Habitat and Log Landings project is really about putting pollinator habitat in highly degraded sites where log trucks have been driving over them to help get wood out of the forest. When we remove trees from the forest, they're brought to log landings where they're loaded onto trucks to be moved to the mill. It creates a lot of disturbance on a very small part of the landscape, and they're usually really slow to revegetate with plants.
So in each of these forests, we got together, we visited all these landings in person, we took notes about all of them.
What would you say?
Really interesting to see all the different forests and the different landings and what they could look like. The grad students are essential to this project because not only do they help get the work done, but they bring a fresh set of eyes and open minds to the project.
Oh, I have to catch this, I'm so sorry. Absolutely have to catch that. So, can I get a show of hands? How many people thought number 1 was a bee? Okay, okay.
I mean, just the general being informed is amazing. I can go home and, teach my daughter the difference between a bee and a fly, even if it doesn't affect my science generally, which it does. Just that knowledge is really empowering.
And they are able to help us do things that we couldn't do without them being present. And they are finding things with the soils that some of our treatments are really being very effective in alleviating compaction, much more so than others, in particular the subsoiling and biochar application. The combination of those two seems very effective, and that's very good information. So one of the things that was of interest along with those treatments is we wanted to know, do we get good vegetation or revegetation that will eventually come back onto these sites if we do some of these soil mitigation treatments? Does it come in on its own? Or can we put in some seed mixes that would give us some plants that produce this nice habitat, especially for pollinating insects?
Yes, so she's got the 2 yellow bands.
A lot of times it will just be plant focused or soils focused or pollinator focused, but really everyone's been in it since the beginning, and that's actually what makes this really kind of a unique project, both from the research side and also from the management side, because we have folks from silviculture, timber operations, botany, soils, all coming together to sort of make this work. And so really the idea is these are very small little patches, but if you multiply them across the landscape, we're really creating a difference for pollinators.
And there you have it. Our thanks to the U.S. Forest Service for that story, and thank you for making the show possible.
Take care, everybody. We'll see you next time right here on the Farm Monitor. Take care and have a great week.